It is increasingly becoming more important for brands to consider the physical needs of consumers. 16% of the world's population has some form of disability. This often doesn't include people who have temporary or situational disabilities. And another growing sector of the population where accessibility considerations are growing in prominence is the aging population. In the US, the baby boomer generation makes up 21% of the population, with the youngest of this generation beginning to enter into their 60s. Recognizing the unmet need, Michael Graves Design, known as the most accessible design brand, has teamed up with the furniture retailer Pottery Barn to release the Michael Graves Design for Pottery Barn collection. So after this short break, you're going to hear my conversation with Ben Wintner, CEO of Michael Graves Design. We had a fantastic conversation about accessibility, about inclusive design, about inclusive marketing, and building an inclusive brand in general. Of course, we also talked about more details about this super cool collaboration. You're going to want to take notes on this. Lots of fantastic information was shared. Did you know that most businesses only use 20% of their data? That's like reading a book with most of the pages torn out, or paying for a coffee that's just 1/5 full. Point is, you miss a lot unless you use HubSpot. Their customer platform gives you access to the data you need to grow your business. The insights trapped in emails, call logs, and transcripts, all that unstructured data that makes all the difference. Because when you know more, you grow more. And when you get a full cup of coffee, you can do more too. But I digress. Visit HubSpot.com today. Hey, Ben, thanks so much for joining me today. We've got lots of cool things to chat about today, but before we get too far in, tell the people, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Ben Wintner. I'm the CEO of Michael Graves Design, where I've worked for 22 years.
Amazing. Well, we don't actually have people who have like one company for such a long period of time. That's pretty amazing. How did you get started with all of it?
It's really a great company to work with, and it's been where I've made the majority of my career. I actually joined the company in the accounting and finance department and just kind of learned the business side of the practice from, I'd say, the inside out. And then I did business school while working and got really interested in the product design side of the business. And for the last 15 or so years, I've been leading that part of our business and working with our great partners like Pottery Barn and many others, collaborating very closely with Michael Graves, who was a mentor, friend, and then eventual partner.
Yeah.
It's been a really great place to work.
Yeah. All right. Well, I am very curious about the work that you all do. I heard a term whenever I was learning more about you around accessible home design, and my ears perked up. So, can you let us know what is accessible home design?
Sure, I'd love to. Accessible fundamentally means that something's capable of being reached or used, understood, or appreciated. So when we think about accessible home design, it's the decisions you make within a home that are going to allow the widest group possible to live the way they want to live, and most importantly, with independence and dignity.
Yeah, so I love the concept of the widest group possible because I think that's really at the heart of inclusive marketing. So often I think people are designing products, services, and experiences with a more narrow view in mind of who something is for. So if you're designing for the broadest group of people, everyone is going to have a wonderful experience because you've designed it that way. What types of people or situations would warrant someone to have a need for more accessible design? Or is that really everyone?
We talk about absolutely that we consider everybody to either be disabled or not yet disabled.
Okay.
And as a result, everyone should have accessible products in their life. So as we worked on our program with Pottery Barn, we were very much focused on individuals with permanent disabilities, but then also temporary and situational disabilities, but then also people who are older adults who want to age in place, people like ourselves who are thinking about the future and want to live without sacrifice. And I think most importantly, and something that is really coming to the forefront, is people that want their homes to be welcoming to everybody.
Yeah.
So if you're one of those people, you should be thinking about accessible home design. And again, we think that means everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So I was exploring a little bit more about you all's philosophy, and it goes very much with what you were just explaining. And you very much have a design for all approach. Can you talk a little bit about what that means for your brand and how that trickles down into your day-to-day decision making?
Yeah, I'd love to. And it's really a great place to start. Michael Graves Design is known as the most accessible design brand. It's fundamental to who we are and what we do. And it's sort of a long story, but I'm going to try to be as succinct as possible because it goes back to the founding of the company 60 years ago
Wow.
by Michael Graves. And then in the early 80s, when Michael was thinking about his architecture and product design, he was moving away from what was known as abstract modernism,
Okay.
which he practiced at the beginning of his career with great success. But he realized it felt cold. His clients didn't necessarily understand his designs. But again, he was very successful, so he would get projects published, and they would be like printed upside down because people didn't understand the work. It was so abstract. So Michael then turned toward humanism, or putting the person at the center of each design metaphor. And with that, we got to what we talk about as cognitive accessibility.
Okay.
And if you're familiar with our iconic tea kettle, there's a lot of metaphors in this. One, the shape of it with its cone made water boil faster.
Okay.
But more importantly, from a humanistic perspective, the blue handle lets you know that it's cool to the touch. And the red bird is signaling to you that that's where the heat is coming from. But then the bird is also an homage to the rooster crowing in the morning, and it makes you smile.
Right.
So all of that was kind of our first foray into design for all, thinking about the human being at the center of that story. But then in the late 90s, our Design for All partnership with Target really pioneered high design at mass market. We were the very first brand to partner with a mass market retailer. We took a risk. But again, we always knew that design should be available to everybody. It should be accessible. And from a designer perspective, it's not harder to design a more expensive item. It's actually oftentimes a bigger challenge to design a great affordable item. So it was a challenge that we really loved. And that partnership led to, countless other collaborations between high designers and retailers. And it's credited with raising America's expectation for good design at affordable prices.
Yeah.
So that was our financial accessibility contribution to Design for All. But then in 2003, Michael, our founder, became paralyzed.
Okay.
It was a kind of crazy health scenario. Overnight, he went from fully able-bodied to paralyzed from the chest down.
Wow.
That left him unable to walk. He was in a wheelchair for the rest of his life, but he maintained all of his design faculties. So his eyes, his mind, his arms. So we just became focused on layering physical accessibility into our design efforts. That first meant within healthcare. He was in and out of 8 hospitals and 4 rehab centers. We would visit with him, and we realized that these places meant for healing didn't make you feel good. So we had a chance to design new patient room furniture within the hospital that looked great, but had all layered on great new functional innovations. We also got to do a transport wheelchair to move patients throughout the hospital in a seated position, much more comfortable and in a more dignified manner. But then we got the chance to go home. Michael left the hospital, he was home. We helped him make his home more accessible. And we started to think about the home healthcare equipment.
Yeah.
Things like shower chairs, raised toilet seats, commodes, walkers, canes, and realized that these products needed to have design brought to them. So much of the quote unquote innovation in that space before we got to enter was about saving money. The benefits were not to the customer, the end user, they were to, efficiency. So we got to design those products all through the filter of a consumer product. So what would you want to have in your life that is going to make you feel better. It's not going to remind you of what you can't do. It's going to enable you to do what you want to do. And it's going to look great. It's going to have something you can make an emotional connection with, and really change the game. But again, even that was limited from our view because that was about healthcare products. And we're very focused about the ADLs, which is a medical term, but it's your activities of daily living.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things that we all do every day to live independently, but that if you're getting older or if you have disabilities, can be more challenging. Things like cooking and eating, bathing and showering, getting dressed, moving around, mobility, using the bathroom, keeping your house clean. These are all of the things that we want to contribute from a design perspective. And that's where our Pottery Barn partnership comes in. So it was the first chance for us to do products that are literally for everybody. If you don't need a commode or a raised toilet seat, while ours may be the best, there's no reason to have one in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But for your furniture, everyone needs furniture. So this was the way for us to show that using this same design filter, we're able to take the products that we use on our everyday life and seamlessly blend safety with style. And it's something that we are super thrilled about, and it is pioneering this new category.
Very cool. Very cool. So you're mentioning this partnership, this collaboration that you have with Pottery Barn. Can you talk a little bit more about what's coming from there? Why you found it beneficial to collaborate here in this area?
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk about this partnership. We've been working with them for 18 months, and product design is a long cycle before you get to talk about it. So in August, we are launching the Michael Graves Design for Pottery Barn exclusive collection of furniture that is reimagining the home with beauty and access in mind. So this is thoughtfully designed products that just have novel functional enhancements. And for the first time, equally focused on and blending safety, style, and accessibility. The inaugural collection launches in August, and we were so excited to work with Pottery Barn because no brand in the world stands for lifestyle furniture more so than Pottery Barn. And this was our opportunity to partner with them and show the world how you can have the beautiful, high quality furniture that Pottery Barn is known for, but then has new novel functional enhancements. So it is great for everybody.
Yeah, I love the partnership because it kind of, like you said, there are certain items, if you don't have a need for it, you might not ever think about like, why would I need a raised toilet seat, right? Or something in the shower. But we all have beds. We all have, different there's tables and things like that. And like you said, if we think about it from the perspective of there's what exists today, there's possibly what could exist in the future, as well as people in our lives that we're interacting with, if it's something that is designed beautifully, that we love and it fits, and it also has the function that reaches a lot more people, it starts to just get more people thinking about, well, why doesn't this type of thing exist in, so many more of the different types of products that we buy and engage from? So I think it's a beautiful way to bring more of an inclusive mindset to more people.
I agree completely. And we really hope and expect people are going to say, like, what took so long? How did you put out this stuff? And, we often talk about curb cuts in the sidewalks, which were part of the ADA. They were intended to make it easy or available for people in a wheelchair to navigate the city. But then all of us benefit from them when you're on your bike.
Yes.
If you're the UPS delivery guy, if you're pushing a stroller.
Yeah.
It's just like, and we would never accept a city without curb cuts anymore. They're second nature. They're part of the fabric. And we really think that our Pottery Barn collection of furniture is going to show that that is the only way to design furniture moving forward.
That's amazing. And I hope you all are super successful with all of that and that objective. So I talk a lot about customer experience, particularly as it relates to inclusive marketing. I am someone with a lot of differences, and I have been frustrated on the receiving end of experiences that brands are inclusive. However, the experience that we have as people who are part of underrepresented, underserved communities
it's often is like substandard, subpar. It's not as good as quote people who are part of the mainstream. So it's kind of like, oh gosh, like the brand is saying, here's something, right? And what I liked about the way you all were talking about this collaboration that you're going to have with Pottery Barn is it's really moving some, like, we're just going to throw something together and like we're making it for people who need some accessibility things. And it's like the ugliest thing possible, but it works, right? Like, here's something. And you're really taking it and making it to where it's something that people want to have in their home. It's beautiful, it's sophisticated, and it just is a beautiful piece of furniture that also serves that function. Do you all think about customer experience from the beginning as you're going through this? Like, how did you arrive at sort of this philosophy of it being beautiful and functional at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would say customer experience is sort of the only thing we think about.
Okay.
And it goes back to, again, telling the story about humanism, and everything we design is about the person. And you're so right that when someone maybe has a special need, you have to like layer on some other additive piece that doesn't coordinate with your room, it doesn't fit, and it's like additive and it stands out. And what we love about this Pottery Barn collaboration is it's like 180 degrees opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
It is everything designed from the beginning, thinking about that balance of aesthetics with safety. And I think it's even more telling that Pottery Barn allowed us to start with three of its best-selling styles. So Sausalito, Farmhouse, and Cayman. And rather than like make a new style for the accessible world, we said, no, we're going to start with their best products, and we are going to integrate accessibility features into those. So that means if you already have, say, a farmhouse dresser and you want to get an accessible farmhouse bed by Michael Graves Design, those two are going to pair perfectly together because they are of the same.
Yeah.
Or if you're a new customer and you love, say, Sausalito, and you want to get the entire suite of accessible Sausalito furniture, it's all there. So it's one of those instances where the accessible version is really just an enhancement compared to the typical version.
Yeah.
And, going back to this is for everybody, we think everybody who is picking something from the Sausalito line, there's no reason not to get the accessible because at some point you're going to need it. If you're a teenage soccer player, lives with injures her knee, like it's going to be better. If you're, recovering from a surgery, or if you're pregnant, we talk to a lot of pregnant women who have trouble, getting in and out of bed. And our designs are intended to work just for everyone to make your life happier, safer, work for you better, and never compromising the aesthetics because obviously Pottery Barn's products always look beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got another podcast recommendation for you. It's Augmenters, hosted by Julie Meyer and Jimmy Edgerton, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. So on this show, Julie and Jimmy dive into mentoring and explore ways to augment and refresh the mentoring environment. They're using 8 core principles that weave relevant spirit guides and diverse guests, and Julie and Jimmy use a lot of humor and practical tips to help mentors and mentees get further faster together. There's so many great episodes to tune into for this show, but one that you might find especially interesting is their latest episode, number 120, Mentoring Across Gender, Men as Allies and Mentors. Listen to Augmenters wherever you get your podcasts.
So you just brought up a couple of different use cases for when someone might need more accessible type of furniture or products, and connected, of course, back to even your founder. I know you all have done extensive ethnographic research with different customer groups to uncover what type of needs people might have. Can you talk about a little bit about the role that research plays in your overall design process of figuring out what it is that people need, and even some key insights that you picked up along the way?
I'd love to, yeah. So, research is the foundation of everything we do, and we're always looking for product opportunity gaps or unmet consumer needs that we can fill with new product designs. So we have, for literally now 20 years, we've done ethnographic research with older adults and people with every type of disability you can imagine, as well as with, and this is in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a lot of observation. People are so willing to talk about their most personal and private experiences. It's humbling. So we've had those experiences. We also talk with family caregivers,
Mm-hmm.
professional clinicians and caregivers, occupational therapists, physical therapists, social workers, all trying to understand what do people go through. And I would say our maybe biggest takeaway is that people want us to design with,
Yeah.
not to design for. And because everyone's preferences and situations are unique, there's never going to be a single solution that's going to work for everyone.
Right.
And no one wants to be told this is what's right for you. So what we do is we listen. We try to meet with and understand as many people's perspectives as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we do and what we did with Pottery Barn is we build prototypes. So if we are trying to solve a certain problem that we heard a lot of people having, we'll have a lot of ideas like maybe you could solve it like this, maybe like that. So we build rough prototypes quickly, affordably. We talk of them as works like, not looks like.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2x4s and plywood. But we will then have people use them. So it's different from a focus group. It's more one-on-one. We call it consumer preference testing. And we'll do some A/B testing. Which solution do you like better? And we'll just observe people. Where do they touch it? How do they use it? And then get their feedback. And we do it early enough in the design process so we can then integrate their feedback into our designs. And we feel like that's the best way to ensure the products are going to be commercially successful because they're less hypothetical. They've been proven out. So the way you can with physical products. They said we've been working with Pottery Barn for 18 months. It's not like a software program where you can do an MVP, a minimally viable product, get it on the market quickly, and then refine it. We have to get it right from the start. So that's how our research process really informs it. And the other thing that I guess I'd like to add to that is what our research has shown to us is, it's trying to spotlight on the dangers of falling, especially for older adults and people with disabilities. Falling is very common and it's very dangerous. The reasons are so dynamic and varied. There's not one reason what makes people fall. So preventing falls is really among our highest priorities in everything we do. And what's so wonderful about the Pottery Barn collection, we've got suites of furniture that surround people with several novel enhancements that together can really be transformative. But they're, individually, they seem small. And what's great about that is they don't call attention to themselves.
Right.
But together, they can really change people's lives.
Yeah.
And that's all driven by the research.
Yeah, I was thinking about, as you were talking, preventing falls, my sister's mother-in-law, and, just how over the years, she's got different pieces of furniture that help her get up, help her sit down, and so I think it's just one of those things where whether people are thinking about disability just in the natural part and progression of life, there are some more supports that we need in others, and thinking about how can we create an environment in our home where we spend the most time that supports us in living well and keeping us healthy and safe. I think that becomes even more important. So hopefully more people will start to keep that thing top of mind, if not for themselves, but possibly for their parents, their loved ones, and things like that. So
yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And another reason we're so excited about this furniture partnership is, we buy furniture to have for decades.
Yeah.
It's not a consumable product. So It's really something people do think about long-term. They should think about long-term. And having the extra accessibility features is just like an insurance policy that you're going to love your product and love your home for the decades to come.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you told the beautiful story about the origins of your brand and how inclusion is baked into it from the very beginning. It's part of your DNA. I love that it's specifically called out in your brand values, your two values of purposeful and pioneering. And it's all about addressing unmet needs, being inclusive, et cetera. So you all have had this mode of operating from the beginning. How, whenever you started to partner or thinking about collaborations, how did you bring your values into your collaboration with Pottery Barn? Like, did you have to look for an aligned partner who thought the way that you all do from a value standpoint? Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, 100%. You have to have aligned values. We almost everything we do, every product we bring to market is in collaboration with partnership. It's again fundamental to our business model. And Pottery Barn had done an accessible collection before working with us.
Okay.
And they, I think, got good responses. And they realized this was an unmet consumer need and they wanted to lean into it and invest further into it. And they were aware of some of the work that we have done in this space. So it was one of the first or the best first conversations we had with the Pottery Barn leadership because there was one, a mutual admiration society. We loved what they've done. They've, been, happy in seeing the work we've done in the past. And they were just so excited about taking it to the next level. We also often talk about raising the bar. When we brought design to the masses, we raised America's expectation for good design. And Pottery Barn gave us the opportunity to raise the bar with them to make a deeper position within the accessible space. And we worked with their design team, with their merchant team, with their marketing team, with their executive team, and everyone was just always on board, willing to learn, willing to think about doing things new ways, also willing to push back on us and say like, no, the Pottery Barn customer doesn't want that or hasn't seen that. And it's just been this great, back and forth. And that's where we found there's so many collabs as they're, talked about today, which might be a marketing splash. But what we've realized is they're successful when both parties contribute equally and bring, different strengths to the partnership, but have a common alignment. And we couldn't have asked for a better partner than Pottery Barn.
Very cool. Very cool. I can't wait to see everything that you all have come up with. Is this a limited edition collaboration or these products are going to be available moving forward?
Yeah, these products are going to be available. We're super excited about the collection that is launching and we're always looking for the next thing we can do together. And, we're always excited about that as well.
Very cool. All right. I want to switch gears a little bit as we wrap up. And I am curious about your experiences as a consumer. Can you tell me about a time where a brand made you feel like you belonged?
That's a good question. One brand that I guess jumps out at me is Trader Joe's. I just absolutely love every time I go to Trader Joe's. Their team members always seem happy to be there. And as a result, they seem happy that I'm there. In a lot of retail places, you'll ask for help and people, seem like they can't do it or they don't have the time. At Trader Joe's, they just stop what they're doing and they walk you over to, the section if you're saying, oh, where do we find this? And then there's just always a really, I feel like, personal interaction. I love at the checkout, there's always oh, what's your favorite item? They're telling you, a secret great product that people may not know about. And you get to, tell them, oh, I love this. And it always feels welcoming. I always feel like I'm myself. My basket tends to be filled with their amazing frozen desserts. And I never feel judgment. So yeah, I'd say that's a place where it's welcoming and it's really a great experience. I always look forward to going to Trader Joe's.
Very cool. There's a Trader Joe's maybe about 40 minutes from where I live. And so I haven't been there since we've lived here, but you're making me feel like I might need to make a visit and see what kind of gluten-free goodies they've got down there. So
yeah, you will not be disappointed.
I hope not. I'm sure it'll be good. Ben, this has been a lot of fun. Where can people find out more about the work that you all are doing, this upcoming product series, collaborations that you have, these great accessible products that you all have, designated so many decades of building?
Yeah, the best place will be to go to potterybarn.com. There's going to be product information with great images, close-up shots, information for all of the products. We're doing beds, dressers, nightstands, special seating. We've got, a really great assortment. So potterybarn.com is the first place. Their retail teams are being trained on communicating all of the details and features and benefits because, at first glance, you're not going to necessarily notice them.
Yeah.
So their team is going to be a really great resource. And then michaelgravesdesign.com is also another great place to learn more about us.
Very cool. You just brought up a wonderful point about training because I think there's more brands. So let me just tell you a quick story. I follow a gluten-free diet for health reasons. And there are times where you'll go to restaurants and the brand has made decisions about being gluten-free and serving gluten-free consumers, but then maybe the servers don't know anything about it, right? And so my comfort level and degree of will I be safe, will I not, changes depending upon how well the person that I'm interacting with can explain, can answer questions, and give me that confidence. So is training a core component of the things that you all have to do to ensure that people fully understand those features and benefits, like, at every level with all the partners that you're working with?
100%, absolutely. And that's another reason why Pottery Barn is such a great partner, because their retail staff are so well trained. It's part of this. It's a specialized store,
Yeah.
So they have a team that really understands the customer. They understand design, and they're going to really understand all of the accessibility features and why it is great for everybody. So training is essential, and it's not only just the training. When we think about product design, it's every touch point the consumer interacts with. So it's the website, it's the packaging. Is it easy to assemble?
Yeah.
In the case of Pottery Barn, it comes assembled. But everything has to be considered, or you lose the through line of that enhanced experience that you're trying to deliver for the customer.
Very true.
And I'll add back to Trader Joe's. My wife is gluten-free, and the Trader Joe's gluten-free JoJo's, which is kind of their version of the sandwich cookie, is amazing, and it is worth a 40-minute drive to go get some.
Okay, I will go. I might even go this weekend. My sister's also gluten-free, so we might do a little field trip. So thank you for that. Ben, this has been fantastic. Any parting words of wisdom for marketers and business leaders who want to do a better job of meeting the diverse needs of the people that they serve?
It sounds obvious, but the most important thing is to listen to customers. If you talk to enough people and if you listen, they're going to tell you what they want. They're going to tell you the issues that they're having, the products they wish they had. People will share their life hacks and workarounds. And then if you show people those early stage design ideas, like we talked about with consumer preference testing, you're going to find those insights that are going to lead to breakthrough products that are going to be successful in the marketplace. So it's obvious, but listen to your customers and give them what they want.
Ben had so many cool things to share, so many cool things. There's a lot of things that stood out to me, but one in particular, which you might not be surprised to hear, was that just how much they think about customer experience, how it is an essential component of the work that they do. So I want to hear from you. What were the things that Ben said that were most insightful for you that will have an impact on the way in which you approach your brand from an inclusivity standpoint? Let me know. Let's continue the conversation over email, on social media, in the DMs. Let's do it. If you like this show, I would so appreciate it if you would leave a rating and review for it in your podcast player of choice. It really does go a long way towards helping more people discover the show, as well as sending the episode directly to people who you think would benefit for it. I like to think these little actions go a long way towards helping more people practice inclusion and making more people feel like they belong. Other quick question for you. Are you getting the Inclusion and Marketing newsletter? If not, really, what are you even doing? Each week, I send news, insights, tips, resources, and other information to help you attract and retain a bigger, more diverse, and fiercely loyal customer base. Go to inclusionandmarketing.com/newsletter to get signed up. Until next time, remember, everyone deserves to have a place where they belong. Let's use our individual and collective power to ensure more people feel like they do. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you soon.